What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this episode is the man behind the magic, the one and only Joe Garcia.
Hey everyone, glad to be talking all things geek with you guys. It's been a long week, and I think we got some exciting news. Maybe if Teddy wants to drop it in this episode. So good to be back, fellas. Let's get it
Ooh,
going.
Definitely.
Oh, and we got to pour some out
We
for
all.
the lowly Cowboys and the Cowboy fans like me.
Oh my god!
Tough
Why
night.
you gotta
night,
bring up
Teddy.
bad news all of a sudden? You
Tough season,
lifted
Teddy.
everybody's spirits with like breaking news, and then you lower them back down with Cowboys talk. It's all good, man.
Yeah. Well,
We
Hey, at
also
least you
have
didn't
a
lose
partner.
20 million.
2
Hey,
million.
that's
It was
true.
2
Mattress
million.
Mac
That is
at
true.
2
2
million.
million.
We also got my partner in crime, Matty B.
Boys, speaking of crying your eyes out,
Oh,
we're going to be reviewing some stuff today that I think is pretty emotional for me, at least. But also, those Cowboys.
Mm.
Those Cowboys. We're not going to get into it. Not a sports show. Not a sports show. But if you've ever been to the stadium, this is for you, Cowboys fans. Miller Lite.
pour one out. Pour one out. There you go.
I thought you were
And
doing
making his
that red cup. Thought you were gonna spit some of your chaw in there, Ted.
oh no, that's for after the show. And making his return to the show just off his weekend over at Retromania. Give it up for Retro Ray. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys? Nice to join the team.
Absolutely.
Retromania, brother. Was it fun?
It was pretty cool. It was, I don't know if you guys have been to the New Braunfels, I guess it's like a convention center. It's not really huge, but it's good enough to where you get to enjoy the floor, walk the floor. The celebrity room was a good, decent size, wasn't too packed. So it was kind of like when you go to, if you compare a concert to AT&T and a concert to Old White Rabbit.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
You get
White
more
rabbit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so you get more closer to the celebrities instead of, you know what I mean? So it was a pretty good, decent turnout. I kind of liked it.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't take my eyes off of Matty B though, man. Your eyes are not deceiving you. He does have laser nipples for this show.
I know. Look at this. It's the red flare. I'm Ric Flair's brother, Red Flare.
Yeah, you just need to give a woo, Matty.
But yeah, no, it's actually really annoying. If anybody in the chat has any tips on how to get rid of these nips,
No pun intended.
yeah, I'm down for it. I don't know how to stop it or what's going on, but
It's okay,
it's
man.
fun.
It's working for you, Matty. Roll with
It's
it.
working. It's working.
Hey, it's all good.
It's the sign of a Sith. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah. I stopped this with the Force. This is a blaster bullet.
That's
that I
what it
stopped with the Force.
is.
Yeah,
Bravo.
That's good
not
thinking.
many
Right
people
there.
can do that. Yep.
Only you and one other. That's it. Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Joe's already in the chat saying, hey, hey, hey. And he's already given me some stuff about my drink. I'm drinking cranberry juice. Close, actually. Raspberry sour. Raspberry
You
sour.
got some vodka in there.
Ooh.
Very tart. Legacy Nerds in the chat saying, yo. Who was also at Retromania.
Who has been active
it was
at
pretty fun.
Retromania? Legacy and
Absolutely.
Nerd, I've been seeing your posts. You got a lot of good interviews this weekend, it looked like. So if you guys are interested in Power Rangers, for sure. I know I think 3 at least interviews that Daniel did at Legacy and Nerd. So if you guys are Power Rangers fans, go check out his page. He has 3 solid interviews, at least, maybe more from this weekend. So good job, Daniel.
Absolutely. We also have a few videos that are coming out very soon from Retromania. Retro Raid dropped a couple of interviews, which are pretty awesome. And also one of the panels from Retromania. So those will be out very soon. We got a great show for you guys. A ton of stuff to talk about. Some events that are happening not only this weekend, but the next couple of months. We're going to be talking all about The Last of Us, Episode 2, titled Infected. And we're also going to be talking about some geeky weekly headlines. But first, Just a real quick recap of the box office this past weekend. Your top three in order: Avatar 2, The Way of Water, Puss in Boots, killing it, and Megan still holding strong. Avatar is now up to 2 point, I believe it's billion, sorry,
Yeah.
worldwide. That's 598 million domestically and 1.42 billion internationally. It's one of those franchises where like the international numbers are always like double what the domestic numbers are, and it's really not like that for any other major franchises. Like Marvel's not like that, DC's not like that.
Star Wars gets kind of close, right?
I
Because it
I
has such
feel
a
like
strong
it's
UK
even.
contingent.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
but talk about breaking records. I don't think Avatar's broken the records yet, but someone did. Zoe Saldana is the only person ever to star in 4 films that crossed, what is it, 2 billion worldwide. That's quite an accomplishment for a young actress. And I say young in a particular way. I think she's probably the same age as me, right? We're probably around the same age. Um, but that's an incredible feat to be the only person ever to star in 4 movies that grossed over $2 billion. Congrats to Zoe on that. That's an incredible feat. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's selling like Elvis. That's selling like the Beatles. That's selling like Drake. You know what I mean? Like those are huge numbers.
There you go. Yeah, no, huge accomplishment. Also, James Cameron, who has
Yep.
now 4 of those films, 3 of those
Three
films,
films. Three films.
3
So
of those
grossing over
films
2 bill.
in the 2 billion, which are
Yep.
only 6 films ever have done that. So he's got half of them. Good for him. Also, don't shy away from Puss in Boots, raking in nearly $300 million worldwide. Not bad for an animated franchise that hasn't had a movie in quite a while. So still killing it, highly entertaining. And then if you already haven't heard Joe's review of Megan, go check it out. It is now up to $124 million worldwide, and Joe can already tell you, it's already what 10 times went over its budget probably
Yeah,
by now.
12 or 15 mils with the what it cost to make the film. I mean, they already raking it in.
Oh
After
yeah,
the first weekend, they were already over. They made a profit. So it's just killing it right now. And they even had some of the actors are starting to make their ways around your local late night TV shows. They're coming out on the Jimmy Kimmel show. So Megan's still getting mass love from the fans.
there you go. There you go. Retro Ray, have you checked out any of these films? Any of these top three?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I saw Megan this past weekend.
What do
It
you
kind
think?
of, it's kind of like Child's Play meets, Terminator, basically Skynet. Basically, that's what I took it as. I mean, because you got Chucky, that's supernatural. That's how he's created. Then you've got Megan, who's created basically off computers and using the cloud. So I kind of like what they took from it. Um, they leave you open. There's no end credit or anything, but there's going to be a sequel.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
kind of
It's
funny that
already in development.
Yeah.
Ray's over here talking about his Megan review, and then I look up and see Joe's comment, and he puts she's hot. So I don't know if he's referring to Megan or Zoe Saldana. I'm just
He
like, bro,
he's referring to Zoe. Yeah.
got to be specific, Joe.
There you go. There you go. Let's see. Oh, Legacy Nerd also says 5 interviews total. 1 dropped. Working on the other 4, and he's got a infant at home, a newborn. So, crushing it. And Joe also says, "Did you just put the Beatles and Drake together in the same sentence?" Well, kind
Okay,
of, kind of,
boomer.
kind
Okay,
of.
boomer. Jesus, we're talking about numbers here. I'm telling you, Drake has surpassed the Beatles when it comes to numbers, which is what we were talking about, Joe. Change your diaper and come back in a minute.
Numbers are weird this year, just because streaming and all that's kind of changed the game. But we won't get into all that. The last thing I want to mention is this past weekend was the opening of a movie called Missing, and it's a spin-off, if you will, to a previous movie called Searching, featuring John Cho. And the original, well, the first movie with John Cho was highly entertaining, extremely inventive, and it was a suspenseful thriller, which I assume Missing is a lot like. So, if you want to go check out something different, if you want to be entertained and be on the edge of your seat, go check out this movie called Missing. I don't want to tell you anything about it. If you want to see the trailer, look up the trailer. But if it's anything like the first one, it should be a pretty awesome suspenseful thriller. So check it out. That just opened this past Friday. Real quick, before we get into The Last of Us talk, I want to talk about a few events that are happening around town. Just newly announced, actually, by the Kings of Horror group, who we've done a lot of work with. The Love at First Bite convention over at the Wonderland Mall of Americas. In attendance for your meet and greet needs from The Walking Dead, Addie Miller, Ross Marquand, buddy of ours who had a great opportunity to interview at this past
Such a cool dude.
superhero. So amazing. Yeah, he's awesome. Had a chance to interview him at the superhero Comic Con and car show. Seth Gilliam, who I've also interviewed in the past, and he also, if you listen to our podcast, he actually has a soundbite that he does on the opening intro of our podcast. David Morrissey, who you remember as the governor, and then Adrian Colley Turner. So February 11th and 12th, that's a Saturday and Sunday. Check out the times there. It's free to get in. You just pay for autographs or photo ops with the guests, and there's plenty of vendors selling all kinds of cool merch, apparel, anything you can think of out at the Love at First Bite, the V-Day Horror Market at the Wonderland Mall of Americas in San Antonio, Texas. If you're a Walking Dead fan, this is a must. It really is, because you don't get the kind of one-on-one time that you would hope to get at a larger convention. This is a much more intimate setting, and it should be packed. So get there early. Bring your items you want to get signed, but it should be a good time. So check it out, please.
Do you
Please do.
remember?
Go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
do you remember when Ross Marquand said that I looked like Robert Rodriguez?
You're never gonna forget that, are you?
Yeah, and like I actually kind of do, I think. And so he he really inspired me, that guy, Ross Marquand, and he talks to you like you're a real person. So that's kind of a big get for them, because he's also involved in more than just The Walking Dead. He has a few things going on there. So Ross Marquand alone being in that lineup is really cool for a festival that size, or a con that size. I'm sorry. Go check it out, especially if it's a free entry. And that mall is cool. It still has this retro vibe to it. Go check it out, especially if you're in San Antonio. But yeah, Ross Marquand said I look like Robert Rodriguez. So there you
So that means you
Like,
have to go
hey.
now. You have to go.
go.
No, I was gonna say that I've interviewed Seth Gilliam before, and one of the things he likes to talk about is his role in Starship Troopers, where he was playing Sugar Watkins. He likes talking about that, man. Every time somebody asks him, "Hey, weren't you in that film Starship Troopers?" Man, he can talk your ear off about that. He loves that film.
That's a good movie, though.
Yeah,
Get
it
some.
is.
Get
Classic,
some.
yeah.
And what was his famous phrase from that movie is, "Pass me the nuke."
Oh, that's
man.
what I say when I have it, when I'm in the rotation, if you know what I mean.
Uh,
Pass me the nuke.
I'm trying to get
Geekcast After Dark, baby.
Geekcast After Dark. I'm trying to get one more event up that I have to bring up because it was just announced recently. It's just taking me a second to get there, so do bear with me. So last week we talked about all of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger activities that are happening this year because of the 30th anniversary. Well, this is a big one. If you're again in the South Texas, San Antonio area, we do not want you to miss meeting one of the OG Power Rangers in person. David Yost, the Blue Ranger, that's right, Billy, is doing an in store signing at our favorite and neighborhood comic shop, Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Yes, this is the famous Dragon's Lair that we've done a dozen live shows at. We did our Jason David Frank signing at. I interviewed Jason at this store, and now Billy's going to be in it. So it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. March 12th from 12 to 4. Again, that's not a long. It's 4 hours. Sounds like a long time. I promise you, it's not. Jason was signing for 6 to 7 hours, so be there early. Call in advance. Get as many details as you can, and we'll also share details as they become as they get revealed. But David Yost, who's a fantastic individual, he's also a part of the Netflix 30th anniversary special in person. Right, this is amazing. So this is gonna be fantastic. Hope you can check it out, and more details to come soon, like I mentioned. Cool. Now let's get to our main topic of the night because I know everybody's
Willow.
been waiting for that. The Last of Us, episode 102, titled Infected. If you are watching The Last of Us and you want to join in on the conversation, please let us know what you thought about the second episode. And if you haven't seen it and you do not want to be spoiled, I ask that you pause this video now, go check it out on HBO or HBO Max, and come back and see what we have to say about it. But episode two, you know how we do. We start off our conversations with a brief summary, and it goes a little something like this. We open on a flashback and meet Ibu Ratna, a mycologist who was asked to study the body on an infected woman in Indonesia. Fast forward, and Joel, Ellie, and Tess's journey continues. They stop by an old museum. Ellie learns what clickers are. We learn the fungus has a hive mind mentality. Tess gets a little too close for comfort, literally, and is forced to make the ultimate sacrifice. So that's a brief summary here. Now, let's go to the panel. Mr. Joe Garcia, your thoughts on episode 2 of The Last of Us. What do you think, man?
No, I thought it was a good episode, solid episode. Continuation of what happened after the cliffhanger that was the first episode. Especially seeing the towers. The leaning towers. For those that have played the video game, they kind of knew what was coming up next, and I think they did as a faithful adaptation as they could. Given the time constraint and stuff that they're working with, I think they did a marvelous job in moving the narrative forward. And you got to see a little bit more about these zombies and how they kind of work. So very interesting. A little bit more of the story is starting to unfold here. So I liked it, man. They had a little bit of those jump scares in it. They're putting the characters in peril so early on in the second episode. I'm like, I can mess with this. I like this. This is the way a show should be. You want to actually feel like, what, your lead characters can die at any time. And I think they make it believable as far as the scenarios and even the surroundings, the atmosphere, and all that. Great post-apocalyptic atmosphere, by the way. They did a marvelous job with the cinematography and really drawing you in here and just showing you like how the cities are in such disarray. It's a great setting, man. And then just kudos to everybody that's working on set, because even the costume designs, they look great,
Amen.
man. Great.
So good. And as Joe has said previously, it's getting real Game of Thrones in here.
It is.
Maddie, your thoughts on episode 2, man?
I thought it was really good. It informed us on different ways that these monsters, if you will, if we don't want to call them zombies, can come about, different ways that they can interact. And the hive mind was definitely a cool. The way they introduced that was awesome. I thought several times throughout this, because I actually went back and watched the first episode again and then this episode because Lauren hadn't seen it yet. So um, we wanted to just kind of watch it all together. And one thing that I really noticed was remember that scene when they were driving in the first episode and you're sort of at the dash? And it's very video game esque on how that's taking place.
You
I
get that
noticed
point of
them
view, yeah.
using video game elements a little bit different in this one. There were certain times when it would just zoom out to a character amongst this whole scenery, and as like the sort of faded away, it looked like CG. It looked like a 3D anime. It looked like a video game character, not so much like a real person. I loved how they did some of the transitions in this episode. There was a little bit of difference from the video game though. So when Tess they're not fighting clickers the whole time there in the video game. Basically, they get through a horde of clickers in the video game, and then they're fighting off soldiers. And the soldiers are the one that killed the fireflies. That they remember when they come onto the scene the first time, they're like, "Oh, they're all dead."
Yeah.
The soldiers killed them in the video game, and we find that out. And then Tess actually dies by a gunshot wound. I do kind of like in the show though how they took us down that classic zombie movie trope. Somebody gets bit and they don't want to say they got bit. And
Yep.
and you're just wondering how long it's going to go. But you could see an immediate change in her attitude. You could see she was getting a little bit more feisty in these things, and eventually she reveals the fact that she was bitten and how far it had progressed in that time. And then that's what she actually used to show Joel that this girl is legit and that you need to sacrifice whatever you can to get her to where she needs to go because hers hasn't even progressed even a little. So I love that point of view there. I thought overall it was a really, really good episode. There was that stray away from the video game storyline with it not being soldiers there, but I'm giving it a complete pass. I thought this episode was great. It definitely lived up to the hype that I got off of episode 1.
Absolutely. And just a quick rundown of a few numbers before we get to Retro Ray. 5.7 million viewers for episode 2, and that is a 22% increase from the premiere. And that was like live viewers. So the episodes are going up in an audience members, and even the original is now up to 18 million viewers. So people are catching on, even if they're catching on a little late. This series is going to be huge by the finale. It'll probably be up there to probably 20 million plus if
Yeah.
it keeps going this route. So congrats to HBO, and I hope the hype keeps holding strong.
And I forgot something, but I want to see if Retro Ray gets it. And if he doesn't, then I'll bring it up after. But there was another really cool part of this episode. What did you think, Ray?
I definitely liked it. Now, question I had to ask you guys. So I never played the game. Okay, I don't know if it was just me, but I'm pretty sure there was zombie movies before. Why couldn't anybody shoot the zombies in the head right away? It was like they were shooting at their body, they were shooting at everything like that. But even when they got a shot at the head, when she hit him in the head with it looked like a hatchet or something, it still didn't do anything till he actually got a bullet directly into like the center of it. So is that the way you can kill him in the game, or how's that work?
I think video game players are aware of this, right, Joe?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can technically like kill him the shot to the head kind of thing, but
Yeah.
in this instance, it's kind of them showing you kind of what the characters are going through. It's a video game, but the way they have to unfold it here, it's like they're going against these clickers, right? And to the normal audience that hasn't played the game, they're kind of showing how they're kind of figuring out how to kill them.
Okay, so they're learning basically,
Yeah,
so they haven't really gotten to that.
that's
Okay.
And
yeah.
and also in most zombie games, it takes more than one headshot at a certain level before they just don't go down with one bullet to the head. It takes multiple shots to.
Unless you're shooting them with the bazooka, but I mean they got small arms, man. They got small arms fire. They have a pistol and then they had what, a bat or a hatchet or something, was a hatchet?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
hatchet.
man. I mean, if you hit somebody on the side of the head with the hatchet, they're still gonna be mobile, the zombie, unless you
Yeah.
really chop off the whole top of their head with the brain or something. But I mean, you need more than one, like Maddie said, you need more than one strike.
Mm-hmm.
So, quite a question. So, I did see some online, some comparisons to, I guess, when they're in the museum. So, in the video game, they're wearing gas mask. In the movie, or in the movie, the show, they're not wearing the gas mask, and it kind of looks foggy-ish. So, is
I
that
can't remember that scene exactly. I can't tell you. I don't.
okay?
I can
Okay.
tell you.
Like I said, I haven't played the game, but yeah, it definitely, like I said, it hooked me. I liked the cinematography, and then I did see more pictures where people are comparing the sceneries to it. But yeah, I mean, I do like it. I do hope they don't go stray as much as, like you said, you guys did, that you saw a little bit of.
Part of the game was an element of airborne spores that would actually
Yeah,
The fungus, yeah, the
infect you.
cordyceps fungus.
And
Mhm.
to make things a little bit less challenging, I think for the show, they decided to scrap that whole element because that's pretty much
okay,
making the fungus like overpowered, if you ask me. And they
yeah,
thought the same. So instead of that, they're doing the hive mind thing, which, in my opinion, is fantastic because there's nothing more terrifying than like knowing you done messed up and you're hearing a horde from like a few blocks away. Like that's a whole nother level of like anxiety in a video game. Not
yeah,
like when they're like around you and you're trying to sneak by, but like when you drop a wrench or something and the noise like starts a domino effect and that just like sets off alarms and whatnot. I mean, all the best zombie games had an element of like setting off an alarm, starting a loud
yeah.
engine to get out of that level, and that's when the massive hordes would attack you. And so yeah, that's just a really cool video game component that I'm glad they're kind of incorporating instead of the spore thing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, did you
Well,
see how
that's
they
pretty
killed
cool.
that one, monster, and then he initially fell to the ground, and as he's dying, he puts his hand towards the vine or the fungus,
Yeah.
and instantly, things start coming out of his hands, and it's kinda like an alert, like, "Hey, I just rang the dinner bell, we got some fresh meat over here,
Yeah.
fella."
Which is cool. And then I back to the fungus. The point that I missed when I was first talking about it was that intro scene there with the professor, and then she goes through and like she's examining the body, and she knows all about this fungus, and she's a mycologist, and at her ending scene of just being like, so what do we do? There is no vaccine.
Yeah.
You
There's no
need
medicine.
you need to bomb this island. And she was so serious about it that she broke down into, I would call like held back tears, but also just sort of calm and just knowing what's coming. Like, I need to go home. I need to be with my family because you need to bomb this entire island. I thought that was a really cool way to
Yeah,
again further point out how dangerous and contagious this fungus is. It really set
yeah.
the tone for episode 2.
I think what I took it as too is when she said, "You need to bomb this island," that included herself.
Mm-hmm.
She means like, "I gotta go be with my family because
Yeah,
this is it." You gotta bomb the whole thing. You gotta purge it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta go. And I was just close to it. And she was shaking her tea when she put it down and told him, but she told him very plain and clear and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you got to bomb this entire island." And
We all
the
gotta die.
other
All
point
of it.
was the Last of Us is showing us how to do a bratty teenager. I've had this issue with other shows recently.
Yes, you
Um,
have.
of the bratty mentality and it just coming off weird. This is how you do a bratty teenager. This is funny. It's annoying. It's well timed. I mean, everything about it is just what it's supposed to be. She's doing an incredible job of that bratty teen role in a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, it's very believable, unlike the Willow series.
I'm all for bratty teenagers. I mean, we grew up in the 90s. All of my favorite stuff is only about bratty teenagers.
There you
But
go.
um, it just hasn't been done well lately, and this show has a really good bratty teenager.
We
So
were
what did I?
raised by the Kevin. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna remember now. Kevin McAllister and the Dennis the Menace of the worlds. Like we were raised by the OG
Yeah,
bratty
the Power
teenagers.
Rangers. I mean, there's a bunch of bratty teenagers, right?
Yeah.
That's it's just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are bratty teenagers. I mean, they were. So it's like that trope has been kind of stepped on a little bit on some shows we've been watching recently, and I'm glad to see it back in its full force here in this series.
Real
Hey,
quick,
Maddie.
David.
So what did I miss? I mean, they said that if I caught it, did I catch it, or what did you?
Oh no, I didn't know if you were going to talk about the professor scene. I
Oh,
left that.
okay, yeah, yeah. That was something else too, because it made me think. So, question: is that also in the game?
I don't remember that from the
I
game.
don't think it's in the game from what I remember playing the first game. It's not in there.
There's moments where you figure out scientists or smart people trying to figure things out, and you figure out what their plot was throughout the game. But I don't remember that specific character
Yeah.
or that scene from the game per se. But it's
Neither
been
Oh,
so
did
nice.
I.
long since I played it. So
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
My kids were joking with me because we're watching this. We've been watching this series, The Last of Us, right? So everybody's a fan because everybody's played the game. And then my sons are over here talking, and they're like, that the second game was so mid tier. I'm like, don't ruin it for your mom. Just be quiet right now.
yeah,
So,
So,
my
go ahead.
my teenager says that there were elements of scientists in the game. Now I don't know if it comes later, and maybe it's something that they kind of threw in there as like an afterthought. But he says there's like something related to the science. Oh, now he's saying no. Never mind. I take it all back.
well, he
So
was thinking of Resident Evil. He's over here looking at
could have
Umbrella
been.
Corp.
No, it's like different game. Different game.
Real quick, David says, "Didn't realize that actress was Anna Torv till the credits of episode 1."
Yeah.
Bro, I love Anna Torv. We talked about her last episode. I binge watched Fringe, and I mostly binged it because of Anna Torv. I mean, that show was weird on like a whole nother level, but that's like the intent. But just to kind of really stick with it and follow it and try and follow the arcs and like the years they would jump and the times that they would jump was challenging, but I stuck with it for good old Anna Torv. I'm really actually slightly disappointed to see her go. Did not know they were going to do that, but I did have a little inkling that like she probably wasn't going to get very far in the series just because I know it's a mostly Joel and Ellie's story. He also says, I love that they struggled shooting the head way more realistic. So, if anybody plays the game in the chat, let me know. But I was also informed by my teenager that in the video game, the head, which is covered in this thick fungus helmet looking thing, is actually somewhat of a protection against any sort of hits or whatever. And I don't mean it's like invulnerable per se, but in the game you could try and slow them down by taking off a leg or something like that. But usually the headshots were almost just pointless. So you would
Oh,
find
dang.
other ways to get away from the clickers or to kill them, but headshots were not the easiest way to go. David also says spore spreading is different in the show, so no gas masks needed at this point. And he also says, God forbid, Pedro Pascal's face. Oh, we cover his face in another TV show. And yes, J.J. Abrams, I believe, was the original creator and producer for Fringe. So yeah, if you haven't seen Fringe, I want to recommend it, but you're looking at 10 or 11 seasons now,
It's
and
out there, man. The first couple seasons of Fringe are very well done,
oh yeah,
but then it just takes off on a tangent near the end of the series, and it just gets really weird, dude.
but it's supposed to. It was a modern day X Files, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they really took it places that you didn't expect. So
So I never
yeah.
watched it, but it was like I heard something like it has like a multiverse in it too, or
Yeah,
something like
man.
that.
Near the latter parts of the season, it just gets really it gets strange, dude. Really weird.
All
Dang.
right.
Okay.
I also have another piece of information from you guys, and it was something that came up in episode 2 that also cemented a theory from episode 1. So, real quick, in episode 1, there's all these references to foods, right? Um, they didn't have any flour for pancakes, right? One of the Joel's family wanted, it was either Joel or his daughter wanted pancakes. There's no pancake mix. Um, somebody asked if they wanted biscuits. They said no to the biscuits. Joel says that he's on Atkins. He's a no carb kind of guy. They go to the neighbor's house. The neighbor offers them cookies, and the daughter, Sarah, I think Sarah says
Yeah, so
no.
they were kind of making cookies. Yeah, so she said,
She
"What cookies
says
are we
you,
making?"
yeah, and she denies eating the cookies because she's not a fan of raisins. So no cookies, no biscuits, no pancake mix. Um, Joel's on keto, and then in episode 2, let's call her patient 0 until we know more. But in Indonesia, this woman worked at a flour
Green.
plant,
Flour and grain
Mm,
factory,
yeah.
flour and grain factory. So
and he
they
didn't get the cake either in episode 1.
he did not get the cake. He forgot the birthday cake. So if you're starting to put the clues together now, somehow either the flour or the grain, or maybe even both, has actually been contaminated by this fungi, and that's what's infecting people. So the people who are not infected have not been exposed. Well, this is also like what, 20 years in the future, right? So back 20 years, the people who were not initially exposed did not eat any contaminated products from
So that's
these
why gluten
flour and
free is
grain
a thing.
plants.
Gluten free, baby.
Yeah.
So basically, on this show, JC would be the only one who would survive because he's a gluten free guy. So,
I'd have to be right there with JC too,
oh
because
yeah, that's right.
me and my daughter, we're not fans of gluten.
So bring it up. You bring out the bread thing, the flour.
Yeah,
Wasn't Ellie eating a sandwich?
Yeah.
yeah, but she's also immune. She can
Oh, that
eat whatever she
okay.
wants.
That is true. Okay.
Yeah, and 20 years in the future too, so maybe they found new ways to make their own grain. There's probably some people working on the fields and all of that because it appears to be a very labor um, driven quarantine zones in all these places. And
Yeah, that's true.
he said Atlanta was pressing pills and bullets. I'm sure there's a quarantine zone in the Midwest just pushing out grain.
David says, "No more tortillas." No, yeah, I would have been done because I had tortillas this morning. So yeah, I'm out. I am instantly out.
Um,
And yeah, that was Thandie Newton's daughter, Joel's daughter, Sarah, from the first episode. Legacy Nerd says, didn't see episode 2, but the first episode got the Reach vibes from Halo with the spores and bubbly zombies. Oh yeah, for
Oh, that's
sure,
true.
definitely. Um, Either way, I don't watch trailers for future episodes. I like not knowing a whole lot. But you gentlemen have any thoughts about if you haven't played the game, that is, any thoughts about where this is going or what else you'd like to see from The Last of Us?
First of all, that is so weird, Ted. You're a weird ass because you don't like watching the trailers for the new episodes. He's like, I'm going in and I'm going to be surprised.
I
You
want to
even
be
did
blind,
that with
baby.
She-Hulk, I think.
he did
I
it with House of the Dragon too.
Oh yeah, House of the
Think-
Dragon. That's right. He did that too. I
And
forgot
I
about
did it. I did it once for a movie. I did it once for The Dark Knight Rises. Do you know how hard it is to avoid a trailer everywhere you go? It's a lot harder than you think. So yeah, I went into The Dark Knight Rises completely blind. Didn't see a frame of that movie, and I think it was
and you left
I was
blind
all better
too.
for it.
You still didn't know what was going on.
Uh, yeah. But gentlemen, your thoughts about where we go from here? What do you want to see, or what are your expectations going forward, Joe?
Oh, I kind of already know where it's going to wind up going, and it's going to be a great season. There's a big journey ahead, for these main characters, and it's going to just be great to see how it all unfolds, and really what HBO is going to do with trying to recreate some of these iconic scenes, and just I just like to go ahead and see, how faithful a rendition it's going to be. But so far, they've done a really good job. So I'm expecting a great season. I'm just going to be excited and glued to my TV every Sunday, just like everybody else, wanting more.
Absolutely. Maddie Babe?
So
So the Mandalorian has another baby Grogu, and I'm hoping that this next episode does the same thing that Mando did with Grogu, and I think that's what we're going to get here. I want to see a lot of Bella Ramsey, Pedro Pascal. I want to see her softening him up a little bit. He's obviously very hardened from the loss of his daughter, but even towards the end of this episode, you can see him sort of turning the tide on that a little bit, wanting to be protective. Wanting to make up for the fact that he couldn't protect his daughter in that moment, and he really regrets that. There's even a moment when he looks at his watch after sort of helping her down a ladder. So if nothing crazy happens in the next episode, I'm fine. I would love some character building between those two, put them in and out of some situations, and sort of soften up Joel a little bit, because we know that that's going to happen. He's going to learn to love her like a daughter. If we get some correspondence with Frank and Perry, wouldn't suck. Maybe even just a little bit of communication there towards the end of the episode, maybe. Kind of tying it into what they're supposed to be doing next. But I'm totally cool if they're just off in the jungle or off in this city area doing their thing, avoiding trouble, and just learning about each other a little bit.
Absolutely. Retro Ray? What about you, man?
I'm looking forward to it. Question I had to ask you guys, since there's 9 episodes this season, how far do you think that's going to go into? Is it going to take all game 1, or is it going to kind of be half of game 1, or actually going into part of game 2?
I hope they take their time. And I'm not even a player of the game, but if you haven't played the game, you kind of have been spoiled with the major events that have happened in the second game. I'm not going to say what they are. So the longer they take to get to the sequel, I'm fine with that. Take all the time you need. I like this cast. I like this production. They take it seriously. They have the video game creators like as consultants, so much so that the clickers in episode 2 were based on original designs that they had. The voice actors from the games voiced the clickers in the episode, so you're
Nice.
getting the exact same people. And then the actors who actually wore the suits, no, that's not CG. Like, I thought for a second that a few of those scenes might have been computer animated or special effects, but no, those were, I mean, most of the time at least, those were people with the suits and the mask and all that, and they're such fans of the games that they knew the mannerisms and the body movements of these creatures like down to a T. So they're taking this extremely seriously, and I'm just looking forward to everything they got going on. Legacy
Nice.
Nerd says Pedro Pascal is traveling with a rambunctious youth who is very special. David says, looking forward to Ron Swanson going apeshit on Fun Guy. Aren't we all, man? He says, I want to see Liana Mormont use the Force to make one of them explode. Hey, please, please. Then Oberyn ride a Rancor through downtown Boston. Yes. Yes. Or Tatooine, whichever. It's fine. We can do that. Awesome. If you are watching this at a later time, or if you're listening to this on our podcast, please let us know what you thought about episode 102 titled Infected. You can message us on this video or email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com. Awesome. I'm so excited. It's so cool to like be excited about these shows again. Might I also mention I'm watching these with my teenage son who's played these games thoroughly. And so he's kind of spoiling not the show, but he's spoiling when things are going to like happen. Like the skeleton that jump scare in the hotel lobby. Like he was already waiting for it. I'm like, stop! You're ruining like when things are gonna jump out. Like, give me a chance, man. Come on, I haven't seen these things. Let me watch it for the first time. But yeah, It's awesome. Awesome show. Cannot wait. Let's get to some geeky weekly headlines. And this is one that was interesting. I wanted to bring it up with you guys because I know you guys have solid opinions about all these things. And there was a Scream 6 trailer that dropped recently. And we're not going to show the trailer because that's not what we're here to talk about. But the big controversy was that Ghostface was in the trailer, and he just so happened to murder somebody in the trailer uh, using a shotgun. And that sent social media into an uproar. How dare a serial killer, slasher, ghost face, impersonator, whatever, what have you, how dare he murder somebody with a firearm? Do you guys have the same sort of opinion on serial killers, or killers in slasher movies shouldn't be using firearms? That it's some kind of a, I don't know, a lazy thing to see or not as exciting? Joe, what about you,
I
man?
just think it's because of the Scream series in general. It's I mean, is it really a slasher film if they're not using a knife or a machete or some type of pointed object, to inflict the killing? I think that's probably what they're really discussing. And of course, things are happening in today's times as well. So I get why people are so sensitive about it, but I think they should have just kept it at as a blade. Just stick with what people are already familiar with. Don't introduce new stuff. The fans don't like that, Ted.
No, they don't. You're right about that. Matty B, what about you, man? Any opinions at all whatsoever on Ghostface using a firearm in the trailer?
Uh, um, I mean, yeah, it's not what you expect from your serial killers. I'm not convinced it's Ghostface. Um, Wearing the mask doesn't technically make you Ghostface. It could be the person who Ghostface has been stalking this entire time, putting the mask on and shooting this dude and trying to put the fear into him that he was given to them. So I think there's a lot of different possibilities here. There's a possibility that it's a shotgun blast and it pulls off as Nev Campbell. Oh wait, oh my gosh. Um,
What a
so
twist!
we don't know what that means. And I think that the people making these movies that are so self aware of the genre, that are so meta and so completely aware of the rules, if that's a shotgun blast, I don't think it's the actual Ghostface that's terrorizing the movie. So I'm going to leave it out to there. I think the people in charge of this know themselves enough to not put a shotgun in Ghostface's hands.
All right. And Ray, what about you, man? Any opinion one way or the other about this controversy?
I'm with Maddie. Same thing. I don't think it's him. I think it's either going to start off as a copycat killer starting, and then the real Ghostface is going to come out later down the
Do we
line.
have a real one?
Well, you know what I mean. Not the actual real first
Yeah.
official
All right,
killer.
right.
Like a Ghostface comes out and says, "Hey, you're not going to do this in my town." Similar to the night,
Yeah,
I'm not wearing hockey pads. And then
yeah.
Yeah, those guys had shotguns too, and we were just like, "What's happening? Why are there three Batman? They all got shotguns right now."
yeah, Ghostface comes out and says, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." And then
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That
That would be amazing.
because I mean it'll be like making a Nightmare on Elm Street and then freaking Freddy's got a gun. You know what I mean? I don't see them doing that. I may be wrong too, but I think that's not him. I think they're just trying to throw you off.
I was trying to remember back because I love the Scream franchise, and I know they're not all great, but it's guilty pleasure of mine. Epi- Episode the sequel part 2, right? Part 2
Mhm.
was Billy's mother, and she had used a gun or threatened to use a gun, and I don't know. She shot Gail in the abdomen. No, no, no. That was
Yeah.
actually the college kid. I forget his name, but he was played by the Justified guy. What's his name? Anyways, he actually shot Gail in the abdomen, and I don't think Billy's mother ever shot anyone, but I could be wrong about that. So it's not like it's completely outlandish for Ghostface to use a firearm. We have seen it. Maybe people just aren't as familiar with the earlier movies and they're only focused on like 4 and 5 and this new sort of trilogy that they're doing. And yes, this is sort of a new trilogy because some of these characters are only in this trilogy. Timothy Oliphant. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it, man. Of course you know who that is. Um,
Well, he has Google right there.
well, he's also in The Mandalorian. He's in season 2. And Legacy Nerd says, David Lozano would say, how uncivilized. Cobb Vanth. That's who he is. Yeah. So it's not the first time. I don't understand what the uproar is about this. Yes, and there was a lot of controversy online, and people are going back and forth about it. Ultimately, it's not Freddy, it's not Jason, it's not Michael Myers. I don't think any of them have ever used a firearm, but that's also something I could be wrong about. Indirectly, yes, but not ever holding one. So I think this is not something we should really we shouldn't make this a bigger situation than it already is. Ghostface using a firearm is really just when it's convenient, you know? And it's also to kind of in the trailer, it's used for a dual purpose. This Ghostface is saying multiple times, "You've never met a Ghostface like me. I'm different than all the other ones. You're not going to know what's coming. You're not going to see me coming." And ultimately, all the other ones lost, but I'm not like those. And to prove his point, he shotgun blasts like a store clerk in the face. And so, like, if you didn't already understand, this isn't your mom or dad's ghost face. This is a whole new ball game. So yeah, I think it's just to reiterate that expect the unexpected. Those old tropes are not going to abide for this film, and I'm okay with that. Scream was always a franchise that was able to reinvent the horror genre in a number of ways, and they did a lot of that with the last one, incorporating more technology into it, like hacking into a person's home, which is all controlled by their smartphone. If you have access to that smartphone, you can unlock every door, you can open their garage, you can open every window sometimes if they have their windows connected to it. Like you can disarm an entire person just by hacking their phone, and it's frightening, it really is. And so I love that, and this franchise has that ability to do that in a way that other horror IPs do not. So I'm intrigued by what they've shown us so far, and I hope this one lives up to the hype. And if it happens to be Nev Campbell, like Matt's saying, that would be an incredible twist because all that media controversy with her not getting the money she wanted and they turned her down just for all that to, be the exact opposite. That would be just a boss move and the biggest misdirection of all time. Will it happen? We shall see. Legacy Nerd says it could be a scene from the movie within the movie. It could be, but also our two main actresses are in that scene. So it it would be odd if that was the case. And Legacy Nerd says they call it stab, right? Yeah, there you go. Awesome. If you guys have any thoughts on that thing that happened, then by all means, let us know in the comments where you sort of land on this. Do you think that it's a big deal that Ghostface uses a shotgun in the trailer? Is it not a big deal to you? Do you not really have a strong feeling for it, one way or the other? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
Um,
So my family chat's blowing up right now, and I'm like,
uh
what's so important?
oh,
This is what my kids are doing.
there you
They
go.
made the cat a Super Saiyan. I'm
There you
like,
go.
really? That's the emergency. That's why y'all blowing up my phone.
I love it. I love it.
Uh,
Some bittersweet news. I think the Netflix series Cobra Kai will have its final season next season. Season 6 will be the end of the Cobra Kai show, and I feel like it's the right time, but I also would like to see spin-offs or additional content coming from this universe because I feel like they've tapped into something that we've all enjoyed on this show, especially because we're all from the age of the Karate Kid and grew up on those movies. So it's all resonated with us a lot, and I'm sure it has for you folks there at home. But some bittersweet news that the next season will be the final season. Who's gonna miss it the most out of you three guys? Matty B, is it you?
No, hell no.
No.
The first three seasons were all right. The melodrama gets out of control for me. I can only watch so much of that, to be honest with you. The original Karate Kids was not so much of that. It gets a bit soap opera. So no, I'm not sad for it. And in fact, I'm excited for them to move it away. So hopefully the Ghostbuster series can take that slot. Let's get that thing going.
Ooh,
Um,
there you go.
I like Cobra Kai. I like the Karate Kid. I like all of those movies. I like the first three seasons of Cobra Kai, but I'm good on it. We're good. Let's move on.
Richard Ray, how about you, man?
I mean, I like it. I mean, like I said, for a spinoff, it's kind of hard to go. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to follow which kid? You know what I mean? But I mean, overall, the series has been good, paying homage to bringing back characters. Now, this season, are they actually going to bring back? Because they bought back Ryan Reynolds' was it sister-in-law for this last one?
Oh wow.
So, I mean, are they going to bring the other Karate Kid? I forgot her name. The actress that won the Oscar.
Oh my
Hillary
gosh, for
Swank.
me, Hillary
Yeah,
Swank. They
yeah. They're going to
better.
bring her. Yeah, they're going to bring her back for this season. That'd be interesting if they did that.
They're not getting Hillary Swank. When's the last time you saw Hillary Swank in anything? She hit like three big movies and just left Hollywood.
She's actually in a series right now. I think it's on ABC.
Oh yeah, you're right. What is that one? It's kind of like a suspense.
Yeah, she's like a writer and she moved to Alaska and now there's like some type of like murders and stuff and she's trying to
Yeah,
figure out what's going on. So yeah, that's a
I did just see
series.
that commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
did
remember
too.
I saw her on Good Morning America because she was doing an interview and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna announce I'm pregnant too." So it's like, damn, she not only has a new series, but she's going to be a new mom as well. So good on her.
Absolutely. Legacy Nerd says those kids grew up and are in demand, so it makes sense. Absolutely, because even Zolo Mariduena is our Blue Beetle, so he's got a bright future ahead of him with the DCU, as long as it holds true. Let's hope he sticks around for a while and they do something with that
Well,
character.
one thing I think it struggles with for me in the late '80s and the early '90s, karate and local karate or martial arts classes were the biggest thing that like going at the time. It was in every strip mall. it, it was a very fitness focused time, even with the moms just doing the stair step of the whole thing. It's the leg warmers. It was a very fitness focused time, rollerblading, all that, karate. It was a huge thing. I don't know if that's like such a big part of teenagers' lives anymore. I, I don't think that that's the biggest thing that they have going. Instead of karate centers now, you could just rent a space to play games with your friends on Xbox. So you leave the house to go to the mall to play Xbox. They're just not doing the same things that kids used to do back then, and they have different drama. And I think that for me, it struggled to connect there. It didn't land for me that these kids were taking this karate class that serious in 2020.
Yeah, for sure. And David says now it's actually all about jujitsu.
Which is the stupidest thing you can take, by the way, if you want to do self defense. Never go to the ground. You're never going to use Brazilian Jiu Jitsu if you have to defend yourself in the streets. Um,
Legacy Nerd says, doesn't Will Smith own the rights of Karate Kid? I think it has something to do with his Chris Rock karate chop. That's probably what it is. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Keep his wife's name out your mouth. Just saying. I'm gonna bring back an old school bit, and it's not gonna take a lot of time. But if you have been watching the show for years, you'll remember a bit we used to do called Bust, Must, or Just. We're gonna keep these opinions short and sweet. The
This is
next
like
few
the first
stories,
Countdown City Geekcast.
these next these next few stories, is it a bust? Is it a must-have, or is it just okay? We're gonna hear from you guys. First story up is
Wait, hold on.
actually
before we get going, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure the rankings. I understand the rankings.
Yep.
Is Bust really
Bad.
good?
Really bad.
Oh, so Bust is bad here. Okay, I just wanted to know if is this story gonna make me bust or is it a bust? You know what I'm saying? So we have to. Is it busted?
Opposite of Ghostbuster rules, right? So
Okay.
bust is bad, must is must have, just is just average. So first story
Okay.
up is Tron 3, starring Jared Leto.
Oh damn!
Joe, to this news, is it a bust? Is it a must? Or is it just?
It's a bust for me, man. Jared Leto doesn't have a good track record. Disney's waited too long to work on the new film, and they choose Jared Leto. We all saw what happened with Morbius. This is a bust.
Retro Ray, what about you, man?
I like Tron, but it just bites when they try to use actors that are popular and try to use them for movies. I would love to see Tron again, but not with him.
Gotcha.
It's a bust.
Matty B.
No one really cares about where the Tron story's going. It's a visual spectacle. It's there. It's for the CG, the graphics. It's a pretty thing to look at. And I liked the first two Tron movies, but I didn't give a damn about the story. Nobody cares now. Jared Leto is just a way to get some people in there to watch a mediocre story and see a bunch of pretty lights.
I have to
And
disagree with Maddie. It does have a big following, but it's just like some of the animated series that they did with Tron are actually they're better. They're much better done than the actual movie itself. So if you want to see story, watch the animated series. If you're just there for the pretty lights, watch the film.
Yeah, it's a bust. It's a bust for me. I'm over Jared Leto too. Go back in 30 Seconds to Mars or whatever. Go do your thing. I'm good. It's a bust.
This story is it's a just for me. It's just okay. I don't feel one way or the other. I love the first Tron. The second one, I couldn't follow the story as well. The third one, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna go check it out. Hopefully, they can recapture that magic and do something with this. I mean, Disney's trying to milk anything they can out of all of their IPs right now, and so Tron is no different. So we'll see what happens. David also
They gotta make that money
says
back on what they spent on that Willow series, because that's taking hard, Teddy.
there's something, I don't know if I'm the only one hearing it. There's something going on with
Yeah,
their
Joe,
audio.
you're breaking up like crazy, big dog.
Am I?
It's
Yeah.
not the worst. It's just like it almost chipmunk like. It's like speeding up your audio. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe just
Hold on.
reset the audio real quick. That might have reset it already.
Do we have another bust, must, or just?
We
Or is that
absolutely
the only
do.
one? Okay.
No. We got plenty.
I like this game.
We got a couple of more.
All right, is that
next
any
one,
better?
Actually, 100% better.
There must
That's
be
it right
something
there.
going on
All right,
with the sample rate.
next
Yeah.
story, and I wish JC was here for this one because I know he's a fan favorite of this one. The Harley Quinn award-winning HBO Max animated series is having a Valentine's Day special, February 9th. Will you be tuning in? Joe, is this story a bust, must, or just?
Oh man, I love me some Harley Quinn.
Now your audio's dead. Oh, no. I hear you
Is
now.
it good?
Yeah,
Is it
there's
good?
a lot of it's big latency. So you say a sentence and then it plays after you get done talking.
That was wild. Yeah.
Weird.
There's like a 3-second delay.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I'll get out and come back in. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Try
hop
that.
out,
Try
hop
that.
in.
Matty B, what about you, sir? Valentine's Day special for Harley Quinn.
Dude, do you think I'm watching this on Valentine's Day?
It's on the 9th. You got a week before.
Dude, I take the whole week to celebrate Valentine's Day. In
I
no
bet you
way,
do.
shape, or form am I going to be watching this on any day, much less Valentine's Day week. Much more important, I don't know, just grown man things to do than watch this silly, love-filled cartoon on Valentine's Day.
This cartoon's like
Bust.
a hard R, right? You know that? I'm just saying.
I don't care. It's a
All right.
bust.
Bust. Retro Ray, what about you, man?
It's a must. I'm just a Harley fan. I mean, I pretty much read all her comics. I was worried about the cartoon series when it came out, and I like what Kuko's done playing Harley. She has that little annoying voice. You know what I mean? But also, my wife, she loves Harley just as much. So we're probably gonna watch it. That's what we're probably gonna be watching. But I'm curious. I'm curious what this episode's gonna be. I'm gonna be
If you watch it with a significant other, it's acceptable.
There you go.
If
It's a
you're
date night.
watching this, I don't care what gender, male, female, whatever they, them, it doesn't matter what you are, whatever your preferred significant other is. If you're watching this alone instead of doing that, please get off of the internet. Step outside and meet some people. It's going to be good for everybody. But if my girlfriend was into it, she wanted to do that, I would be watching it as well. So I'm with you there, Ray. So if your girl likes it, then that's fine.
Dude,
Then you
our
gotta watch.
dog is named Harley.
My dog is named Harley.
Nice. Well, check it out. We have two. One is Harley. The other one is Gambit. Her two favorite characters.
Very
Oh, there you
nice.
go. I like Gambit too.
Very
I used to
nice.
want to be able to throw cards like him.
Yeah. Like
But
she's
no.
right now, she's mad if she didn't like when they casted what's his name to play Gambit. So she was kind of
Channing
disappointed when
Tatum?
yeah. She was kind of disappointed at it. She liked the other guy that played Gambit in the Wolverine thing.
Yeah, getting Magic Mike to play Gambit is a little.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a huge Gambit fan.
Regardless of it being Channing Tatum, I felt like that production was taking it just as serious as Ryan Reynolds was taking Deadpool. So I wanted to see what was gonna happen. I wanted to see like how they were gonna do it. Some concept art actually leaked like a month ago, and I remember posting it somewhere, maybe on Twitter, but it wasn't much. It was just 3 frames, but it looked like Gambit, Channing Tatum dressed up as Gambit. So yeah. David says Taylor Kitsch was a good Gambit. He was. He was a really
Yeah.
good Gambit.
Ted,
Taylor,
is
I
it a
watch
bust?
anything Taylor's in.
Is it a bust?
You were talking about Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, you didn't give yours.
Harley Quinn animated show Valentine's Day special is a must. That is a highly entertaining
What?
show. That is a highly entertaining show. It's hilarious. I will be watching it February 9th when it comes out. Hopefully with the wife. I'm sure she would find it funny as well. And then he's back. Joe Garcia, what's going on, man?
What's up? Do I sound better?
Yeah, you do actually.
Yeah.
Well, I found out what's going on. Windows update. So I have
Of
to go ahead and
course.
I have to fix the driver enforcement signature crap that happens behind the scenes because it doesn't play right with my Focusrite 2i4.
Okay.
We
So,
understand
Harley
all of
Quinn,
that. Go for it.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Valentine's Day special. Bust, must, or just?
I love me some Harley Quinn, but I got to say
Eh.
this one is just that. It's just for me. It's not like a must watch. It's just.
Understood. Understood. And then final bust, must, or just story of today is the announced Zack Snyder sci-fi space epic Rebel Moon. Finally got a release date, December 22nd. Will you gentlemen be watching? Is this movie a bust, a must, or is it just okay for you, Ray?
I would say just right now because I don't know much about it other than what I saw in the trailer. Um, yeah, just adjust. I mean, because like I said, I don't know much.
Matty B?
For me, it's a must. I think Zack Snyder's looking for a new sort of avenue to take. He's getting more love than he ever received ever from a universe that kicked him out of there. This is one of his projects afterwards where he really gets to kind of put his vision on it. It feels a little Star Warsy. It feels kind of like an Andor type vibe, if you will, sort of a sci-fi suspense thriller. If I think it's a must. I think Zack Snyder's going to put everything into it. Now, I'm saying not the series is a must. Tuning into episode 1 is a must. Let's see what's going in this universe that he's establishing, and then I'll judge the rest from there. The premiere episode for me must.
I think this is actually going to be a full feature film, so probably 2.5 hours in there. Unless I heard wrong, I don't think it's a
Really? I thought it was
series.
a series.
I
I
heard it was
believe
going
this
to
is
be
a
a
movie.
movie.
Oh, it's a movie. Okay. Well, then, yeah, you have to watch it. So disregard everything I said. But yeah, it's a must. You have to check it out. I thought for sure it was a series, but yeah. And now I'm disappointed because I hate movies because you get to watch it one time and then you don't get to watch it week after week. So maybe it was some hopeful uh, pushing into that. I'm not sure.
And then Joe, bust, must, or just on Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
It's coming out on Netflix, Teddy. And I remember his last outing with Netflix was that zombie movie
Army of
that
the
he did,
Dead.
Army of the Dead, which was just very mid tier. Expecting the same thing from this, so to me, it's a bust. I think I'll just watch it much later after it's come out. I'm not excited about this one.
I will put this one and file it under must. I am really interested to see what he can do in this new genre. I mean, um, this was actually a pitch, and David Lozano has also mentioned this. This was a pitch to Lucasfilm, and they either didn't have room for it in their trilogies or whatever they were doing, but he wanted to make it anyways, and it's different enough to where it's not going to be really stepping on the toes of any Star Wars intellectual properties. So I'm really interested to see what this is going to be about. Netflix has a massive subscriber count. Army of the Dead, with it being a zombie film and not really a whole lot of interest in zombies anymore at the time, still had an audience of 72 million accounts.
What was the
So
rating though? Average rating on that is a 3, so it's just mid tier.
hold on. Rotten Tomatoes had it at 67, which is passable.
Oh man, Teddy, you are such a Zack Snyder fanboy, man.
I'm not telling you my rating. I said Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a
What was the Rotten
67.
Tomatoes? That's critic score or audience score?
Let me look it up. 67 is the critics' audience. What do you think of the audience is higher or lower than 67?
I think it's higher,
Lower.
78.
And Ray, what do you think?
I say about 89.
Audience score for Army of the Dead was 75.
Oh, dang.
I don't know if I don't think that's certified fresh. I think that's just under certified fresh.
That's mid
Yeah,
tier.
but zombie movies suck anyway. Anytime it's a zombie movie, you have to automatically subtract 2.5 points. I mean, a zombie movie can never even be a 10. Its cap is an 8.5 or a
Yep, yep.
7.5.
Yeah, it was mid tier, but Teddy's gonna church it up and say it deserves a 4 out of 5 because it's Zack Snyder.
Here we go. David says Rebel Moon has a great cast. It absolutely does. And Army of the Dead is supposed to have a sequel, but they've been super quiet on it. It was supposed to have a sequel, and it was supposed to have a anime spin-off.
They're gonna have a
And
zombie baby, Teddy. I'm done, man. I ain't gonna bother watching. That was so stupid.
and what's it called? They've gone quiet on those projects. I don't know.
As
Hey,
they
James
should.
Gunn. James Gunn already gave us a zombie baby.
That's true. He did give us a zombie baby back in Dawn of the Dead. Mekhi
Yeah.
Phifer. Yeah, you remember that? It's already happened, Joe. 20 some odd years
Army of the
ago.
Dead. Army of the Dead is just another just horrid mid tier movie that should not get a sequel. I mean, no.
There you go. There you go. So real quick, that was our bust, must, or just segment. Thank you guys for participating. That is awesome. That's something we haven't done in years, so I'm glad we actually got to do that. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk about something that was near and dear to my heart. It was something that happened over the weekend. So, real quick, I'm going to put the team on mute, and I'm going to take about a minute and a half here to watch some footage of something that happened way back when, and we're still celebrating it to this day. So, here we go.
He's coming. Guys, he's here. Let's go.
It's for Rob. Say something to him before he leaves.
Rob's awesome. I'm gonna miss it. Rob, have fun in Japan.
You owe me $11.
How are you gonna survive without Rob? He's like your main dude.
Yeah, no. Hey, how am I gonna survive without you?
I don't know, I'm like your main dude.
What was that noise?
He sounded like an animal.
Yeah, just relax. Everything.
Phone calls are pouring into the New York One newsroom as a thunderous roaring sound.
You can see something from the roof? What animal sounds like that? Like shaking everywhere, man. It's like tremors.
Looks like you should have left town a little bit earlier.
What is it? Is it coming this way?
I saw it. It's alive. It's huge. No. Anybody see Jason?
Tonight's gonna be the best night ever.
Oh man, does that not get you hype? Happy 15th anniversary, Cloverfield. For you kids out there, what you just watched was the very ominous teaser trailer that was once shown during the Super Bowl of all things. Had no title for the movie. We didn't know if it was a show, a movie. Well, we knew it was kind of a movie because of part of the end commercial there, but we knew very little about it. No talk beforehand, nothing. And you know what happened? It created a whirlwind of curiosity. Fans, or not really fans yet, but curious individuals all went to the internet and started searching any keywords they could to find out what this movie was. And lo and behold, little things started popping up. The actual date, 01/18/08 and all that stuff, started taking you down this rabbit hole of information and Easter eggs and like secrets and notes. And we found out, a lot of us, thousands of us found out that day what a ARG was, an augmented reality game was, and we were all a part of it. And that was the first step. And so Cloverfield was directed by the Batman director, Matt Reeves, who we all know well now these days. And it was quite a feat in cinema. And whether you liked it or not, whether you could watch that much of a shaky film or not, it was a huge accomplishment in cinema. And it was fantastic. And two movies have spawned a kind of in that universe since then. One of them was a spinoff. One of them was sort of a forced spin-off that really should never have happened.
One of my favorites is the spin-off. Is one of the spin-offs. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
John Goodman was
Tremendous.
incredible in that.
Oh yeah, that was
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. And now we're waiting on information regarding the official sequel to Cloverfield, Cloverfield 2, which has already been announced years ago, and things have gone quiet since then. Well, if you are a massive fan like me, you are now awaiting for the silent siren that signifies when the new ARG, or the new augmented reality game, starts. Like I mentioned, all three films all had this very thorough, um, complex um, media sort of marketing ploy where they would take fans down these rabbit holes of clues and decryption of files and all these just different things. And I've talked about it in years past, and now we're just waiting for it to happen again. Now, so this marks the 15th anniversary of the original film. The one thing that we know they're doing to celebrate already is they have released the steelbook of the original film. So you can now order on Amazon the Steelbook 4K Blu-ray. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like right here. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pick up this bad boy. And you know how fans are. Like, seriously, this is already starting sort of anxiety with fans like me. People are already like looking at the covers with a microscope and like trying to find hidden clues on how to start the next ARG game. As soon as we find something, as soon as something is noticed or gets out there, I'm going to be all over this like white on rice. And we're going to start following these breadcrumbs because these games are fun and they are thorough and expansive and just it's crazy what they've done in the past. So, happy birthday to Cloverfield. I love you very much. We have some fans in the chat as well. David says Matt Reeves just announced the monster from the original was a baby looking for its mom. He did say that, and I'm going to say this only because I've been following the movies for a long time. It was actually something that was discussed early on, kind of as a throw off line, but for him to reiterate it again is just to kind of help fans understand where their heads at with this sequel. And so that big, huge monster we got in that first movie, that was the infant. What does Mama look like? That's what we're all wondering right now.
Cloverfield Paradox shows you the full grown version of it.
Yeah.
And that's the one where I say kind of never should have happened. They kind of had this space thriller that fans were suspecting was a Cloverfield universe movie, and the studio kind of got wind of that and thought like, "Hey, can we kind of shoehorn this in the Cloverfield universe?" And it just kind of made things more confusing. So I kind of wish they never would have done that. But
Actually, no, it made things clearer, I think, because they were showing that for looking for an energy source to sustain the current planet Earth, they made this space station, and the space station was a particle accelerator. So, in playing with that, and playing with the God particle and looking for a sustainable energy source, it kind of opened a rift, and just that little rift there created all sorts of twists and turns with the timeline. So, things that shouldn't be here actually are here now, and vice versa. So, I don't know. It kind of brought things into perspective, I think, but also it did, like you said, kind of make things a little bit confusing because now what are we playing with? Are we doing a Loki with these different timelines? I mean, what's happening here? Because now you have these alternate realities that are occurring because you have Cloverfield, then you have Cloverfield Paradox, and now you have 10 Cloverfield Lane, which some have said it's a prequel, some have said it's in a different timeline, different universe, a dimension, whatever you want to say. So it's like it's all
yeah,
over the place. Yeah.
I like the idea of
To
a
me,
prequel
10
more.
was always, to me, 10 was always same timeline, just a different location, just somewhere other than where the main events of Cloverfield took place, but at the
Well,
same time.
here's the
Yeah,
thing that
That
fans have pointed out, though, is that with 10 Cloverfield Lane, you actually have an alien invasion where you're showing ships and actual aliens. But on the current timeline with Cloverfield, the original movie, you see that the alien, and even Matt Reeves has confirmed this in his latest interview. When you're seeing the found footage, and at the very end, you're seeing the two main characters who have already perished. Spoiler alert, you haven't seen this movie, 15 years old. There you go. Well, they're on the Ferris wheel, and then during that video that you're seeing, they show something fall from the sky. It was a meteor, and it crashes into the ocean. That's when that actual baby alien came to Earth. So he is an alien. He did crash land here. He's an infant, but it doesn't show that there was an actual invasion. So I'm not sure what's happening here. Is this going to be an alternate timeline, or is this going to be this happened first and then there was an alien invasion that occurred afterwards? I'm open to anything, man. I feel you, Maddie. I'm just saying, at this point, I'm open to anything and everything. The not knowing to me is the exciting part.
I'm gonna make
Yeah.
all you guys as obsessed as I am with this franchise, and you're gonna hate me for it, or you're gonna love me for it. But when you're up to like 2 or 3 in the morning, like on Reddit, like trying to like figure out what the next step in the ARG game is, you might hate me for it then, but it's a lot of fun. So I've talked about this in the past, and David's mentioning one of the elements of a previous game that they played. The 10 Cloverfield Lane ARG had a geotagged hunts for official movie props that were buried at GPS coordinates in the country. So it was like a random farm plot of land in like Arkansas. And people online who were all playing this game, like hundreds of fans, found GPS coordinates, and they're like, okay, well, where does it go? It's like, okay, it's here, the US. Okay, who's the closest fucking person to these coordinates? We need you to get there right now. Dude went out there and was like, hey, there's some disturbed ground here. And like, all right, we'll dig it up. And it ended up being a apocalypse sort of survival kit, like a cache. And John Goodman's character was a apocalyptic
Prepper.
prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, apocalypse prepper. And so it all fit in perfectly with the movie. And in that trunk that they took out was like a survival kit, band-aids, rations, lights, batteries, all that good stuff. But then you would get clues to the next part of the game. And I've talked about this on previous episodes, and we can go back to it when the next ARG hits, because it would take a long time. But yeah, it's pretty epic, and I can't wait for it to start all again. And so yeah, pretty stoked, pretty excited. If you want to play along, I would implore you today, go to Instagram. Talking to you, David Lozano. And I've already noticed something. 10 Cloverfield Lane, checkmarked, verified. The Cloverfield Paradox, checkmarked, verified. Cloverfield, hidden, no check marks, not following anybody, no profile picture, no post, 12 followers. I'm one of them. So whatever they're doing, it's going to happen soon. And I feel like all of these social media pages are going to be somehow involved, and I'm stoked. Awesome.
Yeah, this game that they're playing with Cloverfield, something similar existed years ago, but it didn't use GPS. It used a series of clues that were built into fantasy artwork, and it was called The Secret, I believe. So I can kind of see where they got the ARG game idea from. So shout out to The Secret. I remember that reading about that, and it was intriguing to me because the author of The Secret passed away before all the treasures were found, and some of those treasures, which are precious gems, are still up for grabs. They haven't only they've only uncovered, I think, three or four of the gems. So there's still more out there. So if you want to play a game, Teddy, there you go.
Yeah, that's like my high school senior prank. We hid 3 pigs with the numbers 1, 2, and 4 on them, and they always looked for the third one, but there wasn't a third.
Ooh, just drive people
But
crazy.
geocaching is actually really popular in general. I have a couple friends who geocache, and there's like these apps that you can go on, and you go to the coordinates and somebody left something for you there. So that would be cool to bring back into this as well. I don't know if they'll reuse the idea, but I'll play along with your little game, Ted. Okay.
We
It's
got to
not
make one
little.
for Maddie. Let's make one for Maddie. We're going to leave a series of clues.
We won't need
One
to.
more
They're
sinister than the rest.
We
Than the
won't need
last
to.
one.
This film is going to start one that will be epic. We won't need to.
Let me have my fun, Teddy. I was going to leave a series of clues for Maddie, and it was going to lead him to a Bud Light that had already been drunk. It's
Yeah.
empty. That's the joke.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Well, the real joke is that an empty Bud Light to me is the same as a full one. I'm not drinking it at all. It's all about Miller Lite on this program. So sorry for the slip up there, but we are sponsored by
No,
Miller Lite.
I wanted to leave him Bud Light. I wanted to make him think it was going to be Miller Light, but it was going to be an empty
Yeah.
Bud Light because he wouldn't have drunk it anyway.
Yeah, the cruelest thing you could do to me is leave out 6 beers. The first one's full, and they just get more empty as you go. So the last one is like,
Or what if I put Bud Light into a Miller Light can and then just let you drink?
See, Joe, that's fucked up, Joe. That's fucked up, Joe.
Maddie's gonna be like, "We ain't friends no more."
No,
Nah,
that's it.
I'm pissed now, Joe.
We're gonna stop talking after that. Yeah. We're gonna get out of here, but before we do, just want to let you guys know that this is the first week that we are soft launching our brand new website, developed by our own Joe Garcia. Welcome to the Countdown City Geeks.com. A little different from our pod site, but this is the brand new look of our Countdown City Geeks.com website, your source for all things geek. As of today, you can go check out the latest article by Joe Garcia featuring, or it's all about that 90s show. Check that out. This will also give you a quick um, player for our podcast. Tell you a little bit about, take you to our latest videos right here that you see, and also tells you a little about each and everybody on the team. Check that out at countdowncitygeeks.com, and you can contact us at the very bottom of the homepage. But prepare, because a lot more content, a lot more news, a lot more reviews on the way. And I don't know when we're going to be slowing down, because we have so many things in the works, in the pipeline right now, and we just cannot wait. So thank you to everybody who's been patient with us. We've been trying to get this out for quite a while here.
Let's go back and look at Ted's picture. The legacy of
picture?
nerd just so eloquently pointed out.
Uh-oh. Fancy
says,
website, of course. Ted is one with the mugshot. Oh my god. Yep, that's me. That is me.
Oh, and shout out to Maddie B, because Maddie also gave us the really nice video that we have on the website as well.
Absolutely. Oh, I also forgot, you could find our merch store at the very bottom of the homepage. So be sure to check that out, and we'll let you guys know when more items go on sale at our Redbubble site. But yeah, check out all the pretty faces there.
And I like Tommy's picture. Tommy looks like he's ready to sell me insurance, man.
Yeah. Insurance. That's some cult shit going on there, Tommy. I don't know what.
Tommy looks the most professional out of all of us, man. He's out doing this.
Absolutely. Listen, thanks everybody for watching. Please keep following us. That way you can stay in the discussion with The Last of Us. We're super excited about it every single week. Also, busy week this week. Just so you know, we plan on interviewing the second Red Ranger in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, Steve Cardenas, tomorrow. So be looking for that interview to drop later this week. Me and Maddie got another Ghost Heads episode this week. Be sure to check it out. And then the WrestleCast might be having one of their biggest shows ever, because the Royal Rumble is this weekend in town. The Undertaker is doing a one-man show this Friday, and there's two wrestling conventions in town happening this weekend. So be sure to check out the WrestleCast later on this week for all the events, all the news, all the happenings going on around professional wrestling, especially one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, the WWE Royal Rumble. That'll do it for us. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, a.k.a. Steady. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime. You know him as Mediby.
Look what we did. And we're going to recycle this, too, because we're good people. And it was a great show, and I can't wait to check out episode 3, The Last of Us. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it and keep up with us because it's the first time we've been excited about a show in a while. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow and next Monday.
Absolutely. We also got the man behind the magic, you know him as Joe Garcia.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Again, we greatly appreciate you guys. And if you like us, make sure to like, subscribe, share, get the word out about the Countdown City Geekcast. And also check out the new website at countdowncitygeeks.com. So, you know what, Maddie? I hate to burst your bubble, man, but I did watch the finale of Willow, and they teased 2 more seasons after this one. I don't see how they can possibly, the sacrilege of even the audacity of even bringing 2 more seasons after that debacle. I
How
hope they
not to
bury
do
this show.
bratty teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not tuning in, so that's fine.
They need to
There
get
you
the
go.
show and just throw it into the sun, dude. That's it. It's done.
Last but never the least, you know him as Retro Ray.
Yeah, thanks guys for letting me join your crew. I got some lots of cool stuff down the pipeline that I've been working on, so I can't wait to let you guys see it and see what we got going on.
Absolutely. Got a number of interviews that are going to be dropping this week, as well as that Power Ranger panel from Retromania. And Joe, you kind of spoiled a little surprise I was going to do. I also saw the rest of Willow. I promised the fans I would. I checked it out. It was not an easy watch. They did some cool things in the final episode. I will admit there were some cool things in there. And you're right. They did tease 2 more seasons. Who knows though if we'll ever get to see them.
That's like that's like they're gifting you a 12-pack of skunky beer. You ain't gonna drink that.
Yeah, put
I
that
will.
behind the opposite of whatever a paywall is. Like you should have to pay people to watch
Yeah.
it. And
To watch it,
Payment.
Daniel Ray, it looks like you owe a shout out for the tripod to Daniel.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, because he had an extra tripod with him, and I wasn't planning on getting interviews when I went, but it happened. I was able to get knockout while I was there,
Yeah.
and like I said, I wouldn't have been able to do it if I hadn't gotten borrow Legacy's Legacy of the Nerd.
Yeah. Big shout out to Legacy of Nerd. That deserves a beer, Teddy.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, Legacy, send the invoice. All right.
Send the invoice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Send us your cash app or something, man. We'll buy
Thanks
you
for
a beer.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.